How to start this video? Darth
What do we
Traya.
even say?
I don't know. Well, as you guys know, there's a lot of Darth Trayas. Actually, not a lot. Sorry, there's not even that many Darth Trayas out there.
There's like 2.
Got any Darth Traya shards? If you guys really pay attention to the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes community, that there are quite a couple of like Darth Trayas out there. Maybe we're talking maybe 4 in the whole entire world, and they were kind enough to share some footage with us of both their Traya on offense and defense, Gear 5, 5 stars, Gear 11 with Zetas and all that stuff. So we're gonna see what we're in store for, and be sure to stay tuned because both Cubs fan and I, we're gonna be able to test her on our test accounts personally, hopefully in the next day or so. So let us know down below what teams you want to look at. So today's purely a reactional video on what the people in the wild are doing with Traya, and I'm gonna do an offense video, and Cubs fan Han today is gonna do a video going over initial reactions on her on defense. But man, let's just get into this gameplay. Oh man, what were your initial reactions when we started seeing the more recent gameplay of Traya from Oblivion?
Oh man, I was shuddering, especially because I'm not gonna be able to get Traya for a while. My guild still has yet to complete the heroic Sith raid. I think that we're on the cusp of getting there, but my initial reaction is, oh no, what's this gonna do to my arena rank? But at least from just from an offensive standpoint, because we're talking offense here. Man, I want to have this character. She looks amazing.
Yeah,
the
I think
DPS is crazy. The functionality is crazy. She's got so much utility. I mean, it's as promised.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely living up to the raid reward. She's kind of like Raid Han and General Kenobi put together, but kind of a bit above
A bit.
We're gonna see. I mean, one of the things we don't know quite yet. This is just initial opinions, initial review. We don't have definitive answers right now, but I don't know yet if she's gonna be a plug-and-play character in any type of lineup out there. Raid Han, pretty plug-and-play. General Kenobi is like the most plug-and-play character you put in any lineup. Right now, we just have footage of Emperor Palpatine lead and Darth Traya, and I want to first talk about Emperor Palpatine lead on offense, because that's probably what most are going to use at the very start when they start unlocking Traya, which for me is still a long ways away. I think I only have like 14 shards of Traya. We just did the Sith raid a week ago or so. It's we still have quite a long way, but from what I'm seeing of Emperor Palpatine lead, she kind of looks like she carries the battle for an Emperor Palpatine versus Emperor Palpatine battle. There's a battle, like they did this on all full auto. His team or their team are getting completely annihilated. And Traya,
I thought it was done.
I thought so too.
She just carried the battle right at the end. There's nothing you could do.
It was crazy. Like I was about to like go, all right, next battle. That wasn't too impressive, but I kept watching. Then she's just like taking on the whole battle. Her Saber Storm was doing some crazy damage, and Saber Storm hits up the 3 times.
If she doesn't get fractured, if she doesn't get annihilated, she's got so much survivability with all of that protection gain. Yeah. And she's also going to contribute to the survivability of the Triumvirate, which is another thing I think we should discuss.
We will,
When we know that Nihilus and Scion have this synergy, but let's throw Traya in there. And now we've got all of these additional synergies that happen with the Triumvirate that is going to make Nihilus super hard to kill. It's going to give Traya offense. It's going to be reducing the cooldowns on Held by Hatred for Scion, which contributes to his survivability.
Yeah.
And so that trifecta is, I mean, it's the Sith Triumvirate. It's crazy.
So this is why I was talking about, I'm not sure if Traya will be, I mean, she's probably going to be good outside the Sith Triumvirate and the Sith team, but I'm not sure if it's going to be like General Kenobi versatility just yet. But when she is with Scion when she is with Scion and Nihilus, that is when things get absolutely bonkers, because Nihilus is getting 30% increase of his max health and 10% turn meter anytime a debuff is inflicted on Traya or Scion. Then when Scion, his unique bonus he gets is when anytime Traya or Nihilus are being critically hit, he's reducing the cooldowns of Held by Hatred by 1. And then the big kicker is Traya. Anytime Nihilus or Scion are getting critically hit or a debuff is being applied to either of them, she's getting 12% stacking offense that just keeps totaling up for a total of 2 turns. And as we see in some of the footage provided by Oblivion's, like, holy cow, they're like getting 20,000 on a basic, and then the Saber Storm comes in and does like, there was a clip somewhere where Palpatine gets Saber Stormed, and he went from like full protection to like almost dead all of a sudden. And it just happens pretty quick because right now the meta is Emperor Palpatine, obviously. Then we have some CLS Jedi training raids trying to hold on up there. And the thing of Emperor Palpatine teams is that what's Vader doing at the very beginning? Force Crush, right?
Right.
And he's applying debuffs, and there's a chance that he'll get a critical hit on all the characters or a couple of them. So let's say, for example,
he immediately charges up the Triumvirate immediately in the battle.
It just gets them going. I mean, Nihilus, he'll probably get like 60% max health and 20% Terminator right there from the Force Crush. Traya is probably getting, I don't know, 48% offensive critical hits and debuffs are happening. It's like, what is going on here, people? And
she's getting crazy hits. I would say she looks like, just at a glance, and again, we haven't had a chance to actually handle this, and so I think both Arnold and I right now, we're kind of like, you know, we're watching the footage, we're reacting to the footage, but until we have it in our hands, it's hard to give a final opinion. But that said, based on what I'm observing, she looks like she hits like the Wampa on her basic. Her Saber Storm looks like freaking Whirlwind when it's charged up. And so the DPS on Traya is terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, we're just talking mainly unique and pure damage output, but she has just so much control. First of all, days on a basic. I love days on a basic, and not too many characters can boast that. Death Trooper, I mean, there might be one other character I'm forgetting that has days on a basic, if that. And that's crazy. And then on top of that, she's taking all the debuffs being applied to her allies, and she's just like, take it with you. She'll apply it to that enemy she's hitting. So, you know, on
30,000 damage isn't enough. How about every single
Here we go.
debuff?
Take it. It's like, you know,
Merry Christmas.
You're giving the other team a taste of their own medicine. So Vader is applying the debuffs. Palpatine's doing his shock and stuns and whatever else is going on. Traya will just take all those debuffs and put it back on the other team. And as we'll talk about with her leadership ability, making sure the other team is just polluted with debuffs is really important, because anytime a Sith ally is hitting a debuffed enemy, it's kind of like Emperor Palpatine's leading the way, but Sith allies will gain 10% health. So they're getting some health regeneration, not as much as probably Palpalade, or not as frequent, because Palpalade is anytime a debuff is being applied. And then the Saber Storm has tenacity down. We also have the additional ability block. Then we also have, on top of that, healing immunity, all for 2 turns.
And we haven't even mentioned Isolate.
Yeah, we haven't. I don't even know how to.
Which is one of the coolest debuffs in the game. She's going to Dispel. She's going to increase cooldowns. She's going to, let's see, Isolation until Traya dies or another enemy is given Isolation. There's no evasion on this. The target, you pick a target ally to reduce their cooldowns and give them 50% protection up. So give that to Scion so that he can have, he can get to Held by Hatred sooner, or maybe Nihilus to get to Annihilate sooner. And then the debuff itself is going to be no buffs, can't attack, can't gain positive status effects out of turn. Allies can't attack or gain positive status effects during that unit's turn. It's like, I mean, it's like a different angle on Fracture.
It is a very, it's kind of like
pretty nice.
Like usually, like people describe Shock as like healing immunity and buff immunity put together in like days. It's kind of like it's got a combination. This is like Fracture, Shock. I can't like. It's a lot of debuffs kind of tossed together, and it's a whole different mechanic that we're seeing in the game right now. And another thing to point out, this also is an increased cooldown ability. So when you have Nihilus and Traya, which is probably the automatic combo, 2 cooldown increases. Let's say you want to get experimental, you put Death Trooper in there. That's a 3-character cooldown increase right there. If you really want to mess them up, I mean,
just load it up.
It's just Trey is really gonna punish teams that rely on one another. And man, I got Jedi Training Rate and CLS. I'm kind of worried about them, because they're teams that attack out of turn. They gain buffs off one another. The thing is, anytime someone is attacking outside of their turn, they're getting a reduction of 35% of their max health. And Jedi Training Rate and CLS, they're like the kings and queens of attacking out of turn right now. And
it feels like it pretty much counters everything. I mean, there are counters in this kit to every single meta team that we see right now.
Yeah, and then on top of it, if your team does
all of them.
Yeah, and if you think you're safe because your team's not a counter-attacking or they're not an assisting team, well, if you gain buffs outside your turn with Traya lead, that character loses 50% offense until the end of their next turn. So, I mean, right now, she's just out, and obviously we're going to probably test her out the next day or two, and stay tuned for that, of course. But we're going to probably start finding counters, because there's only going to be very few that get her at the very beginning. We
got to find something, because, and you'll see a little bit in my video that I'm posting at the same time Marl's posting his on defense. There's very few counters to this. In fact, the best counter that I think, my conclusion is based on what I'm seeing so far without actually going against it myself yet, is good RNG.
I mean, right now I think Palp lead, if you have a fast Palp and a fast
That's the team that was able to beat it. The team that was able to actually win in the footage that I was provided was a Palp lead. The Rex leads were not able to do so. I know that the Ray leads were having problems. I don't have any Ray footage yet, but
right. I mean, well, because the two reasons are, I think dark side base teams, like I'm not even sure. Like a Thrawn lead's kind of on my mind, but I don't know if that's gonna be really a good counter yet because Palpatine lead, they're not getting many buffs outside of their turn. They might just get offense up because of Palpatine's AOE stun. Other than that, there's not a lot of buffs going on, and secondly, they're not a team that attacks out of turn if you don't have General Kenobi on the team, so they're not going to suffer too much from a Lord of Betrayal leadership. So Palpatine lead, I think, might be the only viable thing right now, but of course there's so much we got to experiment with. But Jedi Training Ray CLS are kind of on my potential struggle list, and Rex as well, because Rex is all about giving extra buffs to everyone, cleansing and stuff like that. Hopefully, I think tomorrow or the day after, something close, we should be able to start making videos on her, and I'm thinking maybe even like putting like Traya, Nihilus, and Sign. That's probably going to be the obvious 3 to go to. Maybe then add a tank somewhere, maybe another Sith Trooper or Sith Assassin Marauder. And I think Palp might be a good backup because he already takes away health from Jedi and Rebels. And imagine a Jedi or Rebel attacking out of turn, losing health because of Traya's lead, and then Palpatine also taking health away from that Rebel or Jedi. Rebels and Jedis, they're gonna, or especially Jedi, you guys are in such a tough rut right now. We're gonna try to prepare for all of us who aren't gonna have her anytime soon, because it's coming. It's obviously getting really close. Once the bigger guilds like TI starts getting her, that's when things start getting in full swing. So you guys let us know down below, what are your initial reactions of Traya on offense? We think there's a lot to deal with her, but we're gonna learn all about it together as a community in the next upcoming days and weeks and months ahead. So thank you guys so much for watching. Check out Cuz Fan Han's channel and be sure to subscribe so you aren't missing a thing. And as always,
Traya's crazy. She's crazy.